Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. I actually just got done watching 100 Thieves versus Golden Guardians. FlyQuest versus CLG is right now about to start. I'm just kind of recording this during the LCS day. And yeah, I just got done watching that 100 Thieves Golden Guardians game. It was pretty gross overall. Obviously, Golden Guardians looked very, very good to start the game. 100 Thieves looked very, very concerning, very worrisome. They were down 11,000 gold. Now, yes, they ultimately do come back and win, but I do not know if that is a great win. I don't know if that's something we should necessarily be celebrating too much against a 5-6 Golden Guardians team, which has pretty much proven to be a pretty middle-of-the-pack team throughout the whole season, and, definitely weaker than a lot of the teams that 100 Thieves is going to be able to need to beat if they want to get where they want to go during this season, if they want to be as good as people have hyped them up to be. So I thought this was as good of a time as ever, as good of a video as ever, to check in once again with some new Jensen rumors. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate that a ton. And subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. Help us run those numbers up even more. I just looked again, and the numbers are going down. We got like 46% of people that watch my videos are not subscribed at the time that I'm recording this. So, hey, it was like 49 or 50 before. We got down to 46. People are subscribing. It's been awesome. It's been going good. So if we can keep that up, that'd be absolutely amazing. Like I said, tons of good videos coming very, very soon. Rumors, off-season, MSI playoffs, all that stuff. You guys don't want to miss it. With that being said, let's get right into this. We have a couple of different tweets, a couple different sources to talk about, and then some of my own thoughts and opinions as well. I think there's a couple teams that stand out as making a ton of sense for Jensen, but I also want to talk about one team that I don't think anyone's talking about, that I think is flying under the radar, that might just be in the Jensen sweepstakes after all. But here we have LCS EV tweeting this out. Rumors, and he has the U in there. He's European. Forgive him. Jensen is in talk with multiple teams. Now, I don't think this is a shock to anyone. We've already heard a couple of different times, and I already covered this in a different video, that Kobe tweeted out a couple weeks ago, like, hey, I think we're going to see Jensen back in the LCS, or like, I'm going to bet that we see Jensen back in the LCS within the next month. And he tweeted that at like the end of February, the beginning of March. So we're looking at like late March, early April for Kobe's timeline, at least, of when he thinks Jensen's going to be back. Travis Gafford followed that up by saying, hey, are you just saying that because I told you that? Maybe they're memeing, maybe they're trolling, maybe not. But again, LCS EV is hearing, hey, multiple teams could be in talks with Jensen. And then you see what people are kind of saying. This guy's like, hey, GGS, TSM, Dig, 100 Thieves. These do seem like the most likely teams. When we look, I have the standings pulled up. When we look through the standings, Liquid's probably not happening. Most people think Cloud9's not going to happen. FlyQuest, maybe. 100 Thieves seems kind of unlikely, but maybe. EG, probably not happening. Golden Guardians, maybe. Dig, maybe. And then you start to get to the bottom of the LCS, which Jensen's probably not going to be interested in joining, Immortals or CLG or anything like that. And then TSM, obviously a team with money, and a team that's not used to being towards the bottom that maybe Jensen would consider. But when you start looking through some of these options, I know somebody was telling me last time that Jensen said, like on Discord or something, that he would never join TSM, which I didn't see those messages, but if he did say something like that, I would believe it. Yes, if somebody doesn't want to join TSM at this point, especially a guy like Jensen, who's had such a rivalry with TSM over the years on multiple different teams, he's gotten so much hate from TSM fans, the TSM organization is not in a great state that I think many top players would want to join at this point. I would not blame him at all. And I do think TSM seems pretty unlikely because, one, they, are claiming they're not really willing to spend a ton of money, and Jensen's going to be expensive. He's a great resident mid laner. That's going to cost money. And then you have TSM saying they don't want to spend money, but then also the fact that they did already spend multi-million dollars on this roster, on these imports, one of those guys being a mid laner. And I think TSM and Reggie and all these guys are probably just not yet ready to jump ship on it. Partly because their ego, partly because all the chips that are on the table. They said, hey, this is our 3-year plan. I don't think they're going to jump ship after less than one split. So I don't think TSM is a very likely spot. GGS and Dig, I don't think GGS is very likely. I think Ablazal's been pretty good. Dig, maybe. Obviously, I think Jensen is a massive upgrade over Blue, especially because Jensen is a resident as well, and Jensen's just way better than him. He's going to be way better than him this season, this splits in the future, all that stuff. It's not like Blue's going to pass him up for the next couple of years or anything. But again, Dig, he's expensive. Does Dig have the money? Do they want to spend the money? And would Jensen go to Dignitas anyway? And even if Jensen does, how good does that make Dignitas? Does that make them a top 3 team that's going to Worlds? I don't know. I still think there's a lot of questions there. Now, I think something else interesting is could Jensen and Doublelift go to a team together? Could Jensen and Doublelift go to Golden Guardians or Dig or, one of these teams together in a package deal? Hey, maybe. I think that'd be kind of interesting. It's maybe something to look into. But obviously, after I just watched that last game, and I've been watching the whole season, and a lot of people have been watching the whole season, 100 Thieves is a team that keeps coming up because, man, Abadage is struggling. And I do think he came in last year and played pretty well. He was kind of up and down in the summer split, but overall he played pretty well. He had a good playoffs. He had a good Worlds. He did a lot of good things. But players can be in form. Players can overperform. Players can, play above expectations or play above their own level. And you're not as good as your best day or your worst day. And I think Abadage maybe just impressed people at the right times last year. But again, historically, he's like a upper middle of the pack mid laner in the LEC. He was never top 2. He was never really top 3. Maybe at some points you could argue that. But he was never like a monster in the LEC. He was a good LEC mid laner. He's top 4 or 5 LEC mid laner. So I can't understand why people think he's going to come over here and be, top 2 or 3. And I think if 100 Thieves wants to take the next step, they got to be looking to make upgrades. And man, with how Abadage is playing this year, you take a look at some of the stats. He has the highest death percentage of any mid laner in the LCS for 100 Thieves. He also has some really bad laning stats. He is third to last in the LCS in gold differential at 10. Only Kaiduo and Fudge are below him. Some guys who are not exactly known for their lane phases. So yeah, just overall some really, really rough stuff like that. What he does have is really nice damage per minute. He is there as a late game threat. And, some of that stuff could be just 100 Thieves playstyle. Some of that could be he's a really good late game carry and a really consistent late game carry. Also, some of it could be the champions. I swear this guy's on Victor all the time, and that could affect some of his laning stats as well. But I'm just saying he's dying a lot. He's dying a relatively high amount for how often his team dies as well. And he has some bad laning stats. He's been a little bit rough, and that's even the stats. Just from the eye test, it seems like a lot of people are not really impressed with how Abadage has been playing. I think Jensen is an immediate upgrade in the short term and in the long term. And again, Jensen is a resident. And even if you think Abadage is similar to Jensen, or maybe you think he's even a little bit better than Jensen, which I think would be pretty crazy, but say you do, I think Jensen being a resident obviously puts that over the top. And Nadeshot, 100 Thieves, all these guys say, hey, they are all about winning. They will do whatever it takes. They will make some unpopular decisions. They'll make some tough decisions. And I think Jensen for 100 Thieves could be one of those. We also have this from Cobalt. He said, rumors, some teams have reached out to Jensen, but I'm unsure if any noteworthy discussions are being had. Interestingly enough, I've heard from one source that TSM has not contacted Jensen at the moment. So again, kind of take, obviously, potentially TSM out of those conversations. Then you're left with a couple more teams. But what I wanted to talk about in this video as well is to not count out Cloud9 out of this whole thing yet, I do not think. Now, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows how realistic or crazy or whatever it is? But Cloud9 right now is a team that's having a good season. They are sitting at 9-2. They are right there with Team Liquid. I think most people still consider Team Liquid better than them. But, again, I think Jensen is last year he's coming off an amazing Worlds performance. Jensen, at his best, is the best mid laner in the LCS, one of the best mid laners, maybe the best mid laner in the West at his best, especially right now. Yes, previously, obviously, guys like Caps and Perks have had higher highs, but right now, Jensen is one of the best mids in the entire West. He has proved he is a world-class mid laner, and Cloud9 has a ton of extra talent. Blabber is absolute world-class. Summit is world-class. Berserker is starting to prove that he is that. You throw Jensen into this Cloud9 team, this team gets very, very scary all of a sudden. And I know Fudge is their franchise player. I know he's a guy they're building around for the future. Fudge is not there yet. Fudge is not there yet. His stats are rough. His eye test is rough. He plays safe. He does what the team needs. He's not inting games away. They're 9-2. He's a mid laner on a really, really good team. But I don't really think you can make the argument that Jensen wouldn't be an immediate upgrade over Fudge and potentially take this Cloud9 team to the next level, potentially being the best team in the LCS, potentially being a team that could actually go to Worlds and do something. I don't know. Again, I think Cloud9 is very, very unlikely, but I'm just saying, do not count out that possibility. Keep in mind that is an option. Yes, there's the potential that they don't have a great relationship anymore and all this stuff, but Cloud9 is a team with the money, a team that loves winning, and who knows what they'll do, if they bring him in and end up selling people off or, looking to make moves in the future. Cloud9's always doing some weird, crazy stuff like that, but especially now that LS is gone, who knows what their vision and their future is for this team. I do think 100 Thieves is still the most likely landing spot for Jensen. And again, Kobe and Travis think we're going to see him back soon. I would say 100 Thieves is the most likely landing spot, but don't count Cloud9 out. I think FlyQuest, Dig could also be interesting places, but we'll have to wait and see. But it does seem like, hey, some teams might be talking to Jensen. We might get a deal done soon. That's pretty much it for this video today, guys. If you drop a like if you did enjoy it, I would appreciate that so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know where you think Jensen is going to end up. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe, stay up to date on all my latest content. Hopefully catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.